If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to mmoxp.com. There will be a link in the description down below. They are the cheapest and the safest option. You could use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. You guys know what it is. It's a comments video. I'm planning on doing these once every 10 days, like a week or two-ish, once new/relevant topics can kind of start being created. And I'm sure the title of the video is something we discussed. If you ever want to see exactly what we discuss in the title of the video, I always try and leave a timestamp in my pinned comment just to try and help you out if you're not interested in watching, you know, the whole thing, to try and figure out what exactly it is. But yes, turn me on in the back. Turn me on. Yeah, turn me on, and then turn me on in the background as well. And hopefully I can be something that is white noise for you. Or if you actually care what my dumbass has to say, then thank you for being here. Let's begin. We've got Ahmed with 111. Okay. Slicksy says, the second I see this man uploads, I'm happy. And you know what? I'm happy that you watched, Slicksy. That's all I could ask for. Diamond Plays says, you said you are going to read this, so the question I have, where are you from and what team do you support? And then Linz Drew replies and says he is blatantly Polish and supports Legia Warsaw, crying laughing emoji. I was going to make an assume my gender joke, but I realized it wasn't 2017 anymore. And am I blatantly Polish because I'm just that pasty? Is that why I'm Polish? But no, I am from Minnesota in the United States, and I support Juventus. You might ask, how the hell did that happen? Honestly, I think it was 11 years ago now. It was 2014. I started getting into football at the time, and I was just figuring out, you know, what players played where, and it's like a whole new sport I started kind of diving into for the very first time. And I just loved a lot of the Juventus players as I started to like watch highlights of players, and I was just kind of fascinated and went into like deep dives in certain things. And I just kind of naturally grew to, I mean, the midfield diamond of Pogba, Pirlo, Marquisio, and Vidal. At the time, it was hard to not enjoy what you were seeing when watching that foreplay. And so I kind of picked them when I got into football, and I've, you know, stayed with them ever since. And it's, you know, it's been something. And this comment here, I can already see, keep in mind, some of these are going to be like TOTS related that we already know the answer to, so we're not really going to spend much time on it. You know, Yadraw says they're obviously not going to give Greenwood a card. We know now they didn't, and we know now that his player of the month, you know, wasn't because they wanted to give him one. It's because they have to give a player of the month card one, and in team of the season they can decide if they want to give him a card or not. Yoshi Penguin, I hope the paid season pass is not something that you need in order to be good and have the best cards in the game, and if you don't, you'll be left behind. But knowing EA, they will do this. And now that you've seen the paid season pass, you know, it doesn't look to be something that's like that as of right now, but of course we don't know what this might look like in 6 months when FC 26 is in its second season, right? You know, it's hard to say exactly what it's going to look like in the future. And that's kind of where I feel like I almost feel bad being that pessimistic about things, because I want to praise them when they do good things, of course, considering, you know, the praise can oftentimes be quite few and far between for me at least, and I'm sure for most of you guys as well. But you know, you always worry about the worst case scenario. JFC says, I have nothing else to say other than Dan Burn will never lose a header, and I'm still convinced that that is the case. Insidious Inflation feels like 5 weeks of terrible promos, rinse and repeat promos. That was before TOTS began, and I think that I'm pretty sure it is some kind of strategy from EA, and we've talked about that before, to like delay content, some delayed gratification type shit. I don't even know if that's the right way to put it. Mohammed Werfeli, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. What happened to UFL? I haven't seen anyone play it anymore, and I think really what happened to UFL, honestly, is that it really wasn't all that great. And I don't want to sit here and say like I'm happy about that at all, because I'm not happy about that. You know, I think if UFL, it had a lot of steam on release, and I think that if it actually could like retain its players, it probably could have done something. I just think that when games release is so pivotal and so important, and I personally think UFL releasing in a time where the new FC game is toward its peak is just not very smart, honestly. I think if UFL released in June, I think it would have been perfect. I know games don't like to release during that time. If you guys aren't familiar, like games love to release in the fall. That's like the best time of the year, because then you have Christmas right around ish the time when the game was recently released, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's just one of the reasons. If they waited, say, till this June, right, and they had some more time to polish it up a little bit and then release it in a time where like we're kind of bored of FC, that's all they needed to do to me. I think that releasing it in a time where they did was a bad idea, and especially if it's not going to be like immediately immediately retaining you when you release it in the month that they did, it just to me wasn't very smart. Because when you're a football game, you're competing with one title, and it's FC. You're not competing with anything else. And there's been games out there where I think they think to themselves, like, if I make a good game, people will stay. And some truth to that, for sure, I think there is. But also, you have to be realistic and, you know, recognize your competition. Like, for example, X Defiant, if you're familiar with COD and X Defiant. I just think X Defiant and UFL butchered both release dates to a point where I didn't think it was... I thought you really gave yourself just about as little of a chance as possible. So yeah, that's just kind of what I thought about that. Patrick says, why even grind this game right now or ever? You always know that at the end of the year, around 1 month till the next FIFA, there will be repeatable 85-10s, and you can just get a good team and enjoy it for a month. No fucking recycling 10 silvers a day for a few scrappy gold packs when TOTS is just around the corner. And now we have TOTS. Save your mental health, touch grass, and come back in June or fucking July, IDK. And I think that well, first of all, this is sort of the thing where you could, if you wanted to apply this logic to like release day, you know, why fight over a 90 Vinny card who's 1.8 mil and he's going to be at 100,000 coins in January or 100,000 coins in February. So yeah, I see what you're saying, because you'll be able to get the same players for a much easier in a couple months. So that's kind of, I think, what your point is. And it's all about the couple months part, right? That's the only thing that separates this, is that, yeah, you can use these players for a couple months, and people, like, you know, just don't underestimate your time, because like, yeah, you might come back in late July and get a crazy TOTS card or two, but like, people have been using that crazy TOTS card, say Dembele. If you happen to pack him, got really lucky, of course, this is unrealistic, but say you happen to pack one of the top tier team of the season cards, you've been able to use them for, you know, 2 months plus or 3 months almost. So that time is important, right? But I do agree with this, though, like, save your mental health. If this game is not good for your mental health and you know that, then yeah, you don't, like, that's the end all be all right there, the mental health aspect. If this game is not good for it for you, then you don't need to play it, right? That's very important. We've got Gator Doc wanted to comment on a paid season pass. As long as a normal pass stays the same, I don't have a problem. At least you know what you're paying for. But knowing EA, I could see it being 1 million coins or 6k FIFA points wouldn't surprise me. Well, now that it's out and we know that it's 500k or 1,000 FC points, does that change anything at all? The free season pass looks pretty much exactly the same, and we've discussed this a lot at this point, but, you know, I think it's been pretty good so far. I hope it stays that way. I just don't know if it will. At It's Thomas, haven't heard the word compensation in a bit. Interesting. And it is kind of interesting. I think the reason is because sort of conspiracy, sort of more like speculation as to how they operate kind of time here. I think that they didn't think the mistakes meant anything, really. I don't think that I think they were under the assumption that like they could make as many mistakes really as like they could without it really leaving a lasting impact on player count or profits or whatever. So like the mistakes were more like, haha, EA, you know, good old EA kind of thing, and like we'll come back anyway, instead of it being an actual issue. And I think that once the revenues did start to dip, right, they kind of had to sit back and say, like, what is the reason for this? I don't think they fully knew. I think they thought it was a mix of different things as to why players weren't playing the game as much. They weren't spending as much money on the game. So I think they tried to like clean up as many areas as they could, because I don't know if they were 100% sure about exactly the reason. And they're probably, you know, there's rarely one reason something happens. It's usually a mixture of things. And so I think they've tried to get their act together a bit with mistakes. And ironically, when you're seeing this video, we uploaded a video today talking about how they deleted career mode saves, which I think is hilarious. And that not hilarious for the people who got their saves deleted, but the fact that something like that can even exist and get through testing, like, I don't know, that's crazy to me. But you're right, the mistakes have been down for quite a bit, actually, like a lot, really, since the winter time. I think that's probably because they don't really know why people stopped playing it, and mistakes could have been a reason for that. We talked about the Messi situation last year. People stopped playing post January, and was it just team of the year? Was it the Messi incident? I think it was both. But okay, Bosington, I'm not sure, but I think the TOTS highlights card design is the exact same. Okay, so this one, we know what the TOTS highlights card design is, so we won't really read through that one. SK Crusader, not sure why everyone thinks League One is the primary league for the first week of TOTS when the Eredivisie is still clear. See seeing the cards now, do you still think Eredivisie is clear? It is kind of interesting. You know, do you like the FUT Champs rewards where it's only main league? I know it has to be kind of good that way because your chances go up of packing those main league guys, right? Like the great main league players. So that you can't really look at this as like a bad thing, but it is interesting that you won't be able to pack these lower league team of the seasons that could be like insane just through FUT Champs rewards. I think like what, ranks 5 or 6 and above, you can't pack them. It's only the main league. So they're going to be a little more rare that way. You can't pack them in tradable TOTS packs either. Oliver basically says, hi JFC, I love the idea that they would be able to make the new paid season pass where you can earn enough FC points to buy the next one like some battle passes do. We know now that they didn't do that, so that is a shame, but thank you for the kind words. Oliver, any nice comment anybody leaves, it warms my heart inside. Machenko, GOAT YouTuber. Thank you, man. JS Fragoso, hi JFC, love your content. If you could make a single improvement to FC, what would it be? For me, definitely input delay / sluggish gameplay. I swear this shit drives me crazy when playing this game. I think that would be the #1 improvement that almost anybody would make towards FC is like responsive gameplay. So I'll pick a different answer because you've already picked that answer. If I had to pick one singular thing, I would honestly say if I had to make a gameplay change, like if I had a genie out of a bottle that was Will Smith, I would, choose the sluggish gameplay and input delay. So that's the gameplay change for me. If I had to choose like any change at all, for me, it would be the League SBCs. Honestly, that would be the main change I make. I think the FIFA 19 League SBC system there was so much potential there to like actually have a rewarding menu grind, and they can still monetize so much of that menu grind. And just, it could be time savers for everybody, right? Like, I don't know. I could go on and on about really what they could have done with that. And I think they were really onto something, but they were too scared to go further into it because they were worried that it was going to be negative to the long-term spending that users would probably spend on the game. And that just, it really breaks my heart, honestly. It breaks my little heart that League SBCs will never be back to that, probably. We'll never see that again. Fleason says here, basically, the paid season pass, you should be able to, like, start further than a free one because you're paying for it. And you do actually get a free 10 levels starting at level 20, so they did kind of do that, but it starts at level 20, so you have to grind to level 20 to get to level 30, actually, but still, it's 10 free tiers, so hard to complain too much about that. Shaft to 2010, your dopamine receptors need time to reset. That's why EA have slow pormos. Wow. Because when people get excited, they spend in a frenzy. That could be. That totally could be. They have psychologists. Don't forget, I mean, I've said this a million times now. They hire psychologists to literally dictate these kinds of things, right? The morality in that, I can't say is super apparent there. And you know how I feel about that already. Virtual, another YouTuber named Morsi, said you are part of his daily routine. Check him out. His player reviews are lit. I've actually talked to him before. Plenty of times, actually, in DMs. So I am familiar with his game, and I love Morsi. Anton Gregory, I really wish there was a chem style with just pace plus dribbling. With how clunky this game is, I want a chem style that would just focus on increasing my pace and dribbling. And actually, honestly, I would bet this is a thing that will eventually come because cards are just getting better and better with stats and stuff like that. Is pace and dribbling that OP to the point where they're like, no, we can't do that? I would guess that comes into the game at some point here. Because when you think about it, what with pace isn't in the game yet? You've got, I think it's pace and physical and then pace and dribbling. And then that is it, right? Because you have Hunter, Catalyst, Shadow. And it's like, why would pace and physical not be in the game? Is that really that overpowered? Pace and dribbling, you could say, isn't in because it would be too overpowered, but pace and shooting getting +3 is fine. And pace and defending for a center back, like that's the two most important things. So the overpowered argument, I don't really get. This is probably more of a, like, just laziness. When they made the chem style system, they didn't make one, and they just haven't since out of pure, like, convenience. But yeah, I don't get why it's not a thing, and I'm sure it's gonna be a thing eventually. White Rex says, love your content. You are the fucking man. Thanks. EA can suck a bag of dicks. I can't wait for 2K to put an actual football game out with slightly less greed, but functional football. First of all, thank you. And second of all, I don't know if 2K is gonna make a game. I hope they do. What gives me more promise for 2K, even though I know that, yes, like you said, slightly less greed is exactly right. But their offline experience, it's called My NBA. They have eras, which if you guys aren't familiar with 2K, you can start your career mode, you can call it that if you're just, if you're familiar with FIFA terms, you can start the career mode in like the 80s, which that is like literally 25 steps ahead of where EA is at right now. I know it's easier in the NBA because there's less teams, right? You have 30 teams to make the players for over the years, and in football you have 500, right? So obviously there's a lot more that goes into it there, but they have at least put a lot of time and effort into it more so. And I know the eras, like, that has its own bugs right now. Like I play 2K, my eras, so I know there's a lot of bugs in there, but it's just where they are is so far ahead of where, FIFA career mode's at, that it does still give me promise for the offline experience. And also, if any game like that were to come in, if it does come in, they know they have to step up their game to a point where they know they have to compete with EA, and they're going to make it probably pretty user friendly, at least for the first couple of years, I would guess. Cayenne, we're probably going to ignore this comment, but thank you for leaving one. We already know the answer to that question. Anubis, the expectation with 4 playstyle pluses should be that only the big name players most people won't be able to afford or pack will have it. VVDs, Bonmatis, Salas, Yamals, etc. TOTS will be where 3 playstyle plus becomes the general standard, where even fodder TOTS will have them. And that is, I think that's EA's strategy here, where they're now at a point where 3 playstyle plus is the norm, and the best of the best only will have 4, and that'll be the case probably for next year too, where everyone starts off with probably 1 playstyle plus. Well, actually, you start off with like some cards getting 0, but eventually pretty quickly you get to 1, and then some of the best cards in the game will start to have 2 a couple months in, and that's kind of how they begin from there. And he also says, I look at the charts for top grossing games every month. FC's always in the top 15 in the US at least. And I talked about, I think in this video, how they were like number 3, I think, in the top grossing charts in the world. In the US it was like top 8 or something like that. And it is pretty normal for them to be that high. I just was wondering, I think in that video I was wondering if it was maybe a sign of less players buying the new game when it came out earlier this year, and more players buying it now when it's cheap and on sale. But that's hard to know, right? It's hard to have any idea. At Wings of Age of Consent, look here, listen. Don't have a question, just want to say big ups, Pam. Thanks, Wings. Thanks, Wings. Appreciate it. Creed says, hey, what do you mean free Mbappes and Dembélés for everybody? I never got them. I also never got that Messi or the Todd Zaire Emery. In fact, every single player glitch, I've never gotten them. There's another big player example I can't remember the name of right now, but I've not gotten one. Boo. And you're not the only one. I didn't get any of them until, what did I get? I got the Holland. I got the Dino. There was that Dino one that was apparently not a glitch, right? Remember that was a thing? Like that Ronaldinho, when it came out, was like not a glitch apparently, except it definitely and completely was a glitch. But EA bootlickers were like, no, they didn't tweet it out. It wasn't a glitch. It was fine. It's like, come on, man. You got fucking 30% of people on Twitter packing Ronaldinho, and that's not a glitch. Of course it's a fucking glitch. So I got lucky this year with them, but you're not the only one. And it was a bad way to phrase that, because the free Mbappes and Dembélés for everybody, it would not everybody. We got Vishesh. I have bro on my TV more than actual news channels. Crying laughing emoji. Hey, thanks, man. I gotta start wearing like a suit and tie. I gotta be the Walter Cronkite of the FC scene here. Adam says, JFC the GOAT. Thank you. You're the GOAT, Adam. Do you think Kvara gets a TOTS? Well, we know the answer to that question already. You do say you loved his Trailblazer card earlier this year. I haven't really used Kvara much this year, but you say down here so much so that I've begun following him in real life. And that's one of the cool things about FIFA or FC, right? You can use these players in game. That's kind of how I started, following football, really, is I started playing Ultimate Team firstly, and then I followed football after that. And I think it's just a great way to get into the sport, really. If you're completely unfamiliar with it, your ball knowledge genuinely, and I know it's not literal ball knowledge, it's more so just like knowledge of players, right? Ball knowledge, you could say, is more so the intricacies of the game and stuff. You won't learn that from Ultimate Team, but you can learn a lot of the players and like the clubs and stuff like that. If you're a complete amateur, that helps. Fut Surge, will there be different SBCs for each different TOTS league, such as Prem, La Liga? Yes, there are. If you're new to the FC, I'm assuming you're probably new. There's different SBCs for, and I'm assuming you mean probably upgrade SBCs. Yes, there's different upgrade SBCs for every single league. Creed once again says, okay, getting this in nearly half of all my champs games, so I'm calling you out. If you have a team of the year Mbappe and the best version of Henry, Dino, etc., and play 5 at the back, you are a rat, you're pathetic, and you're a cancer on the game. Honestly, what is wrong with people? Toxic AF. Hey, listen, this comment section is a safe space to rant about 5 at the back and pay to win users, okay? This is a safe space for you. I'm glad you're venting in the comments. Lewis Samuels, Fanta, man of the match cosmetic, please, EA. Only the OGs will know. Maybe the most rare and special card design of all time. I would pay good coins for 1 or 2 of those bad boys. I could not agree more with you. That orange card design was always awesome. It signified like a very unique card as well, because it was like because that man of the match card, it wasn't planned before the game, right? So it was like a man of the match Suarez, a man of the match Ronaldo, something like that was cool because it was like, he got that card based off purely his real life performance, and EA didn't decide that. Actually, for some reason, I always enjoy cards that weren't decided by EA when they're released. Like, they earned that card. That might be like a weird take, but I always like that a lot. And the orange card design just looked fucking cool. As simple as that. Bring it back, please. Joel Santos, Daddy J, what's your take on how the fast the power curve what's your take on how fast the power curve keeps exponentially advancing faster every year? The community is split on this. Do you prefer it like the old days where gold cards were usable until team of the season? Personally, I do prefer it when the power curve is slower, since you get to enjoy grinding to be able to afford / get the good players. And yeah, I think honestly most of the community would probably agree with I prefer a slower power curve than what we have right now. Maybe not the same as it was in FIFA 15 or 16, right? Where it's like, yeah, golds are usable until literally the end of the year, basically. I think that sounds good until you realize what differentiates then an 82 Seidu Doumbia in FIFA 15 versus a 90 Fuddies Doumbia in FIFA 15. There wasn't really much. Now, ironically, one of the reasons for that being a thing at the time, which we kind of forget about, the next year Chemgate happened. So literally gold cards played better than a lot of promo cards because they had better stats, because Chemistry Gate was a thing. So I think EA themselves didn't plan on that even back then. It was more so a glitch that was a thing for the 3 years prior to that. But I do think, once again, it's like, how does EA go back now to a slower power curve when people will be upset? It's like, oh yeah, content is shit because the SBCs they're releasing aren't that good, and the cards coming into packs are not that good. So I think it's hard for them, and that's why they haven't done this yet. I think they probably want a slower power curve than what they have right at this second. I don't know if they can do that though. I don't know if they want to. I don't know if they can do that. Bear X says, just adding that striker Evo looks more like a left wing Evo, by the way. Did you cook there? I think that Evo drop and it was a left wing. You might have absolutely cooked. I'm not sure if the striker Evo was the one that dropped. I don't know. There's so many goddamn evolutions nowadays. Lee Majre, why do the pro events not seem to be affected by the gameplay issues when I can't even pass to the player I want half the time, and every other match the gameplay is almost unplayable? So the pro events, there has been pros complaining that at the pro events there's bad gameplay. It has happened before. I don't know if it happens every time. I remember there was somebody who, I think it was last year, literally said my gameplay in the final game I played, I think he was in the final. I want to say it was the final. It might have been his final game. I don't know the exact details of when it was in the tournament. I just remember it was a very important game, and he said I could not move. I wanted to forfeit the game because I literally could not move. And that gameplay was different than all of his other gameplay during the course of the whole tournament. And he was wiping the floor with everybody. And then in that game, he lost 5-1 or something like that. And obviously you could call it an excuse or whatever, but a pro player who plays this game for 12 hours a day at minimum is going to know when something is wrong. I don't want to discredit that because, oh, he's losing, so excuse he made. A pro player knows the intricacies more than the developer does. Let's be real here. And most of them do, because devs don't have time to play the game as much as the pros do. They don't have the time to figure out every little thing that's happening, and the pros have time for that. Anthony Garcia, in most season passes and other games, they allow you to buy levels if you don't want to wait. Well, now we know that you can't buy levels, but you do get 10 free tiers of the season pass. So you asking, do you think EA would do that? I kind of honestly am surprised they didn't do that. I wonder what the reason they didn't do that was, but you do say here, love the answering questions videos. Keep it up, and thank you, Anthony. And SK, it's a long comment, but he does say here, if you're reading comments, I need to address the squad battles disconnecting again. You have 17 clips saved. So many have complained about it on Reddit/EA forums. Nothing has been done. And the comments you going through troubleshooting steps, but nothing has worked. And you're saying I just want a chill experience. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, the squad battles crashing, there is zero. I mean, there is negative excuses. It's past the point now of if you fix it, it's fucking ridiculous. There's no grace period. There's no I mean, we haven't had a grace period since fucking November for this shit. This is ridiculous that this is a thing. We're gonna go through an entire year where squad battles was crashing like once every, I don't know, 6 or 7 games for most people. Some people it's more, some it's less. It's like they don't crash at all. We're going to go through an entire cycle of the game, and they didn't fix this glitch. So anytime, you know, like that's one of those things where even me who like wants to attempt to be objective, this is where my bias comes in. When EA does good shit, I still don't want to praise them, because when you have something like this that exists for 8 months, or we're 7 months now, right? We're at 7 months. Yeah, we're like almost 7 months into the game. Shit like this still exists. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You either don't care or you're incompetent. Which one's worse? They're both bad enough. Cyber FM Crazy Frog Racer, released in December 2005 on PlayStation 2 and PC as a racing game. A year later, in 2006, a sequel was released entitled Crazy Frog Racer 2. Both were extremely panned by critics. I'd put the song in right now, but I'd be afraid I'd get copyright struck. And now that song is in my head. That song is going to be not leaving my head until I go and listen to that here at the end of this video. At Laura Pandit, hi mate. I've never commented, but I always watch your videos, and I've been watching since 2023. You're legendary. I appreciate all you do. Hope your channel keeps growing. Thanks for everything, honestly. Thanks, Laura. I appreciate you. Like I said, reading your guys' comments, I mean, it's like one of my favorite things to do. I mean, you guys are so nice. Base says hi with, what emoji is that? Is that like I don't know if it's some kind of instrument, like a red instrument. I don't know what kind of emoji that is. I don't know if I'm blind. My glasses aren't on. I mean, what's up, Base? But I can't read or see. Hollow MDG hot take: pay to win does not actually exist. The better player generally wins the majority of the matches. Pay to win is a coping mechanism for subpar players. And I think that honestly, your take is not that hot. I think maybe where your take gets hotter is like pay to win doesn't exist ever. I think that you're right that the better player generally wins majority of the matches. You're 100% right about that. If I'm playing a shit player but he has the best team, I'm probably still winning that game, honestly. Like most of you guys are. If you're like substantially better than the player, it's where pay to win comes in games where you're very even. That's where like you can get the edge, where you bang a finesse shot with when that Henri card just came out, right? That team of the year Henri card. That team of the year Henri card was better than the other team's player. Like you knew that when that game, or sorry, when that card came out, you knew in that game you had the better attacker. So in an even game, that's where it can shine through. But you are right, the majority of the time though, the better player is gonna win, and pay to win in that case isn't as prevalent as maybe you would think it is, but it does come into play when you're in a very even game. It can come into play there. Rajon Stooley, finally EA Sports decided to watch ball. Glad Andre Santos got team of the season. Hopefully Petrovic got one too. I don't think Petrovic got one, right? But yeah, this is the EA strategy here. I can't wait for TOTS so I can feel some enjoyment. Maybe that's exactly what EA want you to feel. Literally contemplating doing rivals this week. Maybe they don't want you, maybe they don't even care if you do rivals, right? Just because you're more likely to come back or something. I don't know. Relentless 1989 says the strategy is they want us to have no fodder and no coins so you can buy packs when team of the season starts, and they're hoping they bore us so much we will accept anything. I haven't touched this crap in 5 days. Yeah, the only people that it will work on is gamblers, and all the little kids these YouTubers convince is still a good game and worth playing, but of course they will, or they will have no viewers. If you are a console player still playing this, you're a mug. you're a mug. And so a couple things. So the first part, you might be right? That might be a strategy they do to where, like, you know, bore them before TOTS. I think that appears to be the strategy. And also this, like, you know, YouTubers, I think there is sort of like this weird thing that some YouTubers have this problem with, is if you criticize the game too much, people will maybe stop playing, which means they will stop watching. And I don't blame them per se for like thinking this way. I just think that doing that is so people will see straight through you. Like most people can see when you are, you know, holding back on something because you're afraid to criticize too much, because we don't want to upset people who play the game, because we don't want you to stop playing the game, because that means you might stop watching X YouTube channel. And it's like, I understand why you want to do that. Maybe that makes more sense business wise for you too. It probably makes just more sense. Maybe I'm the fucking idiot for saying, you know, if you don't want to play the game, then don't play it. Simple as that. Of course, I'm gonna miss you if you stop watching the videos. Of course I'm going to. But also, if you sit here and lie to everybody, or not, maybe lie by omission is a better way to say it, and don't call shit out for how you see it, then people will see through that too. And then it's just, you don't want to have that as anything. So I always want to attempt to criticize the game when I see it and be objective, even if players stop stop playing it, then therefore stop watching me because they stop playing it, then still that's better than sitting here and acting like nothing's wrong, right? That's way better to me. And the second comment, we already know, you know, the price of it, so we won't talk about that too much. And then Min Don says no Mason Greenwood. Talked about that already as well. Relentless is here again, and the bug with the 10th play style. And Relentless is still not happy with the YouTubers. I don't know. Hopefully it's not me he's not happy with. I'm trying. All right. I'm sure I'm not. I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm attempting to call them out where they need to be called out at. And Ben Nicholson just straight praise for Big Dan Burn. You know what? I'm here for the Big Dan Burn gas. You're never gonna see me complaining about that. And holy fuck, AJM. Just the first sentence, you know, wraps it up. Where do we start? Well, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but you know what? Like I said, this is a rant. This is a place where you can rant. Okay, listen, I'll be here. We'll be here to read it. We'll be here to look through it. You will be seen here in the JFC comment section. And AJM, you've been seen. I'm not gonna read this whole thing because I'm not gonna spend too much time on one person's comment. Oh, whoa. There you go. Relentless is back again, and there is JFC as a shill. Listen, if I'm a shill for calling EA immoral and a dog shit company, what do I mean? I gotta go walk to the headquarters and set the place in flames. Like, what the fuck do I gotta do to not be a shill at that point? That was a joke. That was not a threat. I will not be going to the EA headquarters and setting it on fire. That will not be happening. That was a joke. Vlad says, hey, JFC, what's your favorite football team IRL? We talked about that. It is Juve. Fat Cat Sam. Fat Cat Sam. He was speculating about FUT Champs rewards. We now know what the FUT Champs rewards are for team of the season. And he does say here, though, with that new 92 plus icon pick, he says, I feel this also proves a lack of new icons added throughout the TOTS promo. Turns out now we know there are probably no TOTS icons. So you were cooking here. You were definitely cooking, Fat Cat Sam. And loving the content. Still keep it up. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Must be the money. Where's the streaking vid? It's at police headquarters right now. I'm out on bail at the moment. Patty on a bun. Okay, so I read this comment actually when he dropped it. Just look at this. Look at this one. This one's a doozy. We're still going. It's not done yet. Nope. We're still going. It's wow. And he just got roasted in the comment section for it being a long comment. And listen, I want to read through this. I am not going to, but he does talk about DDA in here. It is a very good comment, thought out, drawn out. I'm just not gonna read the whole thing because we would be here for another, like, you know, be a 10-minute light. I want to go into depth about things, and this would just be I'd make this a 30-minute long video based off this comment alone. He was talking about red flags being EA, you know, outsourcing labor for developing their games. He talks about the programming language changing, so outsourcing, you know, talent isn't necessarily a bad thing if you're building a new game every year, but they're not building a new game every year. So coding and programming has most likely evolved since legacy code was written. EA has possibly made a cocktail of poor choices when it comes to their philosophy around developing new games. I mean, you're exactly right. You're cooking. I read the whole thing, but we need to move on. Yeah, your Vanderstar plays like Andrea Bocelli. Nah, that's crazy. Definitely a Russian. I love football, but water polo clears. Yeah, I haven't played Water Polo 2K26 yet, but maybe I gotta check it. Sazume Bashi says EA need people to get season pass. 500k is way too much at the moment. 200k is a good price overall. Well, it dropped and it's 500k. So did you buy it for 500k? I think Chris F. I think this is a comment we already talked about. I believe. I think Mark Castillo's bug we already discussed as well there. Sefu, I want to say. For me, the season pass, paid or free, will never be worth it. They make the best cards at the very end, so basically you pay a 500k or whatever and wait 30 to 40 days until you get the card, and by then it will most likely have fallen out of the power curve. But if you pay for the pass and give all the rewards right away, you create a different problem. So I definitely agree with that. And you say, for me, it must only be implemented as a pay to save time. Free equals grind, paid equals just get the reward and save time. And we kind of discussed that too, I think, in the last video, where it's like, you know, we don't actually know if Ribery will be as good as we think he is because we don't know what the cards look like in 30 or 40 days. And I definitely understand that. Tariq says, my prediction is EA will juice the paid pass. Yep, exactly. They did exactly that. I thought they would too. Brave Digger says, last 2 weeks I played squad battles and rivals without crashes. Just today, 2 crashes in squad battles and 2 in rivals. And people were replying saying they were crashing more too recently. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about that already. The crashing is a joke. Kenix Gaming with, this might be the singular most comment I receive on a day-to-day basis. And it's not a bad, it's not a bad thing at all. It's just funny, like, how much people want exchanges back and how popular they really were. But, you know, we're kind of still at the same point. Doesn't look like we probably will see them. We could. I would guess not. Okay, we got Gymnastics, who says, minor thing, but big question for me. Why can't I skip the opponent's celebrations when they can skip mine when I finally decide to celebrate? I generally don't celebrate unless it's called for, lol. I'm stuck watching their entire replay from every angle, but my guy runs 2 feet and it's over. I don't really know how that works, honestly. I don't know if it's like certain celebrations maybe get triggered. Like you can trigger the end of it earlier, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know how that works, but I have noticed something similar to that, honestly. Sometimes like you can skip right through it and sometimes you can't. Dazbog, this game is only about money. This will be the last FIFA I play. I mean, I can't blame you, and I won't. I mean, this game is all about money. Like that's there's no doubt about it. Sapovic, congrats on the channel success and growth. Ass emoji. I sent you a DM on Twitter of some of my Korean Evos. Do you plan on covering some of your viewers' unique Evos? I'm absolutely going to. So when I ask in probably a couple days here, yes, send me them. You'll probably see that on this channel, honestly. Doc and Rum, we judge and understand things by making comparisons. A dry week before a big promo makes the big one look even better. Everything is a ploy to pull us into the store, and I completely agree with you. You're spitting. Buzzed City, gratitude makes optimism sustainable. Heart emoji. And you know, I've never heard that one before, and I think you're right. You're right about that. We got Giselle Sparza. I just wanted to say I'm glad recommended. Wow. I'm juiced out on caffeine right now. I apologize. I'm so glad YouTube recommended me your channel. You're literally the part of my daily routine where I get FC news. Keep up the great work. Thank you. My only question is Division Rivals worth it if I keep finding myself asking the same question? I'm Div 1/Elite, and there's days I lose every game, others I win, but the stress and the rewards don't even out. I wanted your thoughts on it. P.S. My name is Chris. This is my wife's account because she has YouTube Premium. Because she has YouTube Premium. Yeah, YouTube Premium changed my life. Well, first of all, on my phone it did, but I actually have, it's called uBlock on Firefox. It's like the best ad blocker I've ever used. Also, I maybe torrent things, so that also, you know, I need to do that as well. Don't tell anybody. This far in the video, please God, hopefully you're a loyal fan. Don't tell anybody. Don't call 911, please. No. Okay, if you don't think, if you're even questioning where it's like, man, I'm not sure this is worth it, my guess is it's probably not worth it to do that. And honestly, I haven't played Rivals on like a weekly basis. Like I guarantee I'm playing Rivals this week, probably since the first couple months of the game. Honestly, it's like hit and miss when I'll play it. When I'm feeling like playing it, I'll play it, and then when I don't play it, I don't play it. And that's kind of why it's hard for me to consistently upload gameplay on my channel, because I don't enjoy, and like if I played whenever I feel like I had to, I would not like this game anymore. I just wouldn't like it. I really enjoy FIFA and FC in a time and space where it's like I play it for like when I feel like it, and I think that's where it needs to be digested for most people. Is I'll hop on pretty much every day, like at least once. Like that's what I'll do, and you guys know I make videos on it, so I'm for sure hopping on like every day. But say in this hypothetical world I didn't make videos, I'd be hopping on every day, but I would not be playing it like playing it every day. I would just be like, I don't feel like it today, and I wouldn't do it. There'd be no obligation to do anything, and that's why I have a hard time uploading gameplay, because I'm worried I'm gonna fall out of love with it if I play it every day and force myself to play it for hours and hours a day. And I have like weird anxiety too sometimes, where like I feel like if I've been playing gameplay, I'll record for an hour or two, and then I'm like, this video kind of sucked, and then I'll like feel like I wasted time doing that, and I didn't have fun in the game, I didn't have fun playing it, and when watching it back, I'm like anxious about like the video wasn't that good, and I'm just like, it's a mess. That's where I've been at recently with this kind of stuff. So I'm trying to find like second channel uploads here soon where I can just kind of like interact with you guys, and you know, hopefully when gameplay and I'm able to play it and get back again into it, I can just upload it whenever I want to. But it's just really, I don't know, it's a problem that many people have, where it's like I don't feel like it's worth it per se. And just when you have to like take breaks periodically from this game, or just play this game as more of I'll play it for an hour a day, right? Do some menu stuff and kind of maybe be done. If I feel like playing gameplay, I'll play gameplay that day. Abacus Frost, hey, I remember you said you were into philosophy. Look into Epicureanism when you get a chance. It's one of those schools that gets overlooked, but it's all about living well through simple pleasures and peace of mind. Way deeper than it sounds, lol, kind of a mix of hedonism and stoicism. And you're talking to the right guy here. Epicurus, okay, I have anxiety like bad, so Epicurus and Epicureanism I've read up on. I forgot, starts with a D, Demotricus, I don't remember who it was, as well as another name in there, but but yeah, I've read into it quite a few times. Yeah, every time I talk about philosophy, I feel like half the audience just fell asleep in their chairs. But it's honestly one of my passions. I love talking about it and reading into it. Cramps bought 2 hullets 2 weeks ago for 780. Bought a ham before she flipped for her first Evo 2. For making coins on my videos, I'm happy, okay? And I don't say investment tips that often. You know, we're kind of fodder traders here on this channel, but hopefully I can help you make some coins like that. Dale, which what in the hell is that profile picture? Dale, I can't wait to jump on and play. Let's pack 10 by 83 gold players from 4 10 by 83 packs. And then one game of playing, losing 6-0 against 4213 Feminist FC, rainbow emoji, skull emoji. So that's your average FC experience, Dale. That, you know, doesn't sound the most fun. Elliot, what should I take for level 40? Hopefully you decided and hopefully you made the right choice. We got H. Lupag Pai Pupka. I think there will be 5 to 8 players with 4 playstyle plus per team, and the 4th playstyle plus will be kind of meh. And I think you're kind of right. Like you're pretty right about most of these. Most of them have like a first touch or something along those lines. Relentless for some of them. You know, ones that are kind of like fine, but they're not anything mind-blowing at all. Except for Dembele, because Dembele is him, but he's the exception there. Omni Caliber, I respect you and your content greatly, but you owe us an R9 haircut. Crying, laughing emoji. and the problem is, I was planning on doing that, or like not doing that for sure, but like giving that as an option for, I was trying to do like maybe like a charity stream possibly, or something along those lines, right? But then I got engaged. And then like once I got engaged, which obviously like that was on my doing, so like that it sounds like it was out of my control. It was not out of my control at all, by the way. I also had it planned when I brought up the R9 haircut, and I didn't think about this. But I'm like, we're gonna have like engagement photo shoots. I'm getting married in not that long from now, and the R9 haircut. If I got that would be a road to recovery. So the warden has. I'm assuming if I brought it up to her, I know what her answer would be in this time. Listen, I'm the boss around here, right? I'm the boss. Don't get it fucked. But she's not home, otherwise I wouldn't be saying this. Yeah, R9 haircut might have to be postponed for a little bit here in terms of a challenge we go for. Monty Matata, when you're rating our Evo teams, very soon, my friend. Ali says, the Evo glitch still going strong for me. Lost so many champs in rivals games thanks to this. Evo glitch. What Evo glitch? I don't actually remember what Evo glitch there is right now. Is it like play styles thing? Is that the glitch you're talking about? I'm not actually sure. Maybe I'm maybe I'm an idiot. I'm like forgetting. Chris Lambeth, I think we talked about this comment on our daily video that day. Same with this Jay Lincoln. Just pure gas, which I appreciate, like beyond belief. Definitely a Russian. I haven't logged on in 8 days, though I have it on the companion app. Open 86.3. Got Future Stars Yamal. There's the pack theory at its fullest form there. We got Mario, who says, man, I stopped playing FC25 2 months ago. I was a pro player, but then delayed gameplay was a deal-breaking experience. Anyway, didn't stop seeing your videos. The best FC content on YouTube, in my opinion. You're the best. One question, what is your PC, GPU, and CPU? Do you have a high refresh rate monitor? I am planning to buy a 240Hz display and a 9800 X3D plus RTX 5080, hoping I can get a decent experience in this game. Keep up the excellent work. Well, I mean, you're going to be getting an excellent experience with those specs, I'll tell you that much. I have a 144 hertz monitor, so I run the game on 144 frames. I don't now. I did, but I crash when I run the game on 144 frames, so I play on 60 frames now on my PC, which you'd think would be worse than it is. I actually, on my monitor, 60 frames is not as bad as like when I play COD on 60 frames. Combining my monitor with this game, for some reason, it's like not quite as bad as you would expect. But I have a 4070 Super, and I have an i9 14900 or 14900 KF, I think is what I have for my CPU. And don't get an Intel CPU, which you're not going to, but don't get one, please. Default writer, in my opinion, the paid season pass is a good idea if I can get the value of the coins I spent back, and if it doesn't make the free one any worse. And that's the thing, you know, if you think the 500k is worth it, then it can't be a bad thing. So we just have to wait and see if the rest of them look the same. Philip Wilson, any good investments to do now? I apologize for not responding to this in time for you to make any good investments, but at this point, you know, the market is in shambles. Juan Fernandez with the party emoji. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you. JX was voided. For me in the cup, golden goal wasn't working, and it was 1st to 2. That's interesting. So apparently Luigi says when you play against co-op people, it will be 1st to 2. Don't know why. Maybe because they took into consideration the co-op aspect. Turn off co-op and it will be okay. That's interesting. So co-op is 1st to 2. That is quite, that's strange. Why did I thumbs up my own one comment. That's an L for me. Juan Fernandez back again with the party emoji. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you. And Endorithik talks about here, like, if you have a good season pass, then the power curve needs to be addressed if it's a good deal. And if it's not a good deal, the power curve doesn't move and it's not worth buying. Definitely can understand why that's like a conundrum there. And that's the balance EA have to find with a lot of this new content stuff. And I can get how that can be hard. But also, you make $2 billion off us, figure it the fuck out. Henry Lopez, the GOAT, drops early. I was gonna make some kind of like dropping something like your mom joke there, but I don't know where I was going. I don't think it was gonna be very good. But thank you for your kind words. Eshan just wanted to comment so I could be included in your video. Welcome, you're in. Samuel, yeah. All right. Astor Ray, I got Thuram. He's by far the best center back I've played this year. I've been using Road to the Knockout Van Dyke. So when that Thuram SBC drops, which I think it just did at content time, apparently he's pretty damn good. Eshan's back again. What about investing in 88s, 87s, or even 86s? They have exchanges, right? Well, exchanges still is kind of a question mark right now. And these are just, I mean, they're discard price. So you might as well go out and buy some if you want to. But buying them for exchanges, yeah, you know, they're probably not coming out. And Fast Eddie says here that he was not excited for TOTS. Now, due to the non-tent, he is quite hyped now. So I think he's talking about the psychology might be working on him because it's been so dead. And you know what? You might be right. That might really be what they are doing here. And same comment. And there's two of the same comment. Okay. Well, thanks for double the algorithm help. Marco, come on, EA, you greedy fucks. Give us the exchanges. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm not so sure you're getting it. And Kion are the more Eredivisie TOTS leaks. You're back again. And I apologize for the no Eredivisie leaks at the time. M. Fozzie, can't wait for exchanges. If it happens, full menu grind in the way. Not sure if it happens, M. Fozzie. I'm not sure. Kylo, looking forward to your content every day. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. Emilio says, what has Hakimi been involved with? It's just allegations, right? You can't really say much other than just allegations. And if there's ever allegations, EA just aren't gonna add him into the game just off of pure risk. Dread says, paid season passes were probably released by Pandora. I don't even know what that means by Pandora. Is that some sort of like Pandora's box joke I didn't get or something? That I might be a fucking idiot. Then Creed here is talking about like, I don't get why Greenwood's not in Liga and TOTS. You know, like if you put him in the game to begin with, why not give him a team of the season card? Like either remove him from the game or like honor his real life performances. I understand that aspect, but also I see why EA did what they did with Greenwood more so than like other players. Like other players will just have like allegations and they'll just like straight up like remove them as well from like promos and shit, but then keep them in the game, which is strange as well. But like Greenwood, he's the sort of exception a little bit because we have like literal physical proof of what he was doing with pictures and recordings and stuff like that. But I definitely understand why, like, if he's in the game in the first place, then like honor his real life performances. I 100% see like the logic that you're following there. Connor plays games. Fut birthday Kim Penp has Bruiser Plus. He's good with just that. Adding anticipate will make him better. Yeah, Yep. Ed Sutan says they need to make next year's game free if they have a paid season pass. I don't disagree. I think Ultimate Team should be free, honestly. I don't see why it's not. Adam, I think we talked about this comment already. PC seems to be a lot better. Rajon Stuli, I wouldn't mind to pay for season pass if there weren't so many pay-to-win options already. How greedy, day 45, no streak. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying there for sure. Long Cruz is basically asking here, like, how is TOTS different than all the other promos? Should I open a pack every time a new team comes out, or should I save them? And with packs, you know, I always say, like, do whatever you have the most fun doing. If you want to save up packs for the Prem TOTS, you can do that. If you want to open packs for this, you can do that too. No, when Liga and Team of the Season is done, then those cards are out of packs. It's like 1 week of each league, basically, in packs at a time. And also, he says, thank you. And thank you, Juan, for watching. TTV Sweat King, how much is the paid pass? Well, we now know it's 500,000 coins, 500,000 big ones. Ed Zombie, Game's dead. It's about the cha-ching more than ever. Players can have all these play styles plus 99 passing, etc., and ball still goes nowhere near to the past player. And that is true. That is 100% an aspect of the game you can't forget. Cohen says 755, you say Paisao. So there's like a new Brazilian guy come in the game, and it's like P-A-I-X-A-O. So I was wondering how to say his name, and apparently it's Paisao. So thank you for that. And Paul says here, long comment, you know, I like the fact that I can build a Wales/Newport County team. That is a huge W compared to previous years, right? Since evolutions have been introduced. Yep. But then on to like the not so good, there's a lot of issues. The squad battle's crashing. Yep. You know, you're not wrong, and you're preaching over there. Fat Cat Sam, I've already planned the best option for all these play styles. Just remembered my mare can put a passing play style on the Evo R9, crying laughing emoji. I for some reason thought you were saying here my Emre Chan. Like I thought there was like an autocorrect, like my Emre Chan, but I just realized you're putting a passing playstyle on your Evo R9. And yes, that can be a thing, and those playstyles are ridiculous. Josue or Josue, whom should I start? Whom? Nice grammar. Whom should I start? Firmine or flashback De Bruyne Cam? I would probably go Firmine at Cam, honestly. Dan, if you're reading this, you are gay. Well, now that I read this, you know what? I'm recording for 2 hours now plus. I'm probably going to call it here, but if you didn't get your comment read, I apologize. I'm sure you will another week coming up here. If you made it somehow this far in the video, I would kiss you maybe on the lips. It would be a peck, but I'd do it probably on the lips. I'm done talking now. Thank you all for being here.